Hold on. Yeah, right here.
Where is justice?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
It turns quick.
However,
yeah. Oh God. People on this side all agree, all topics.
Are you all Catholic?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You would have been. Is there I've been there before, but I've never been there for an actual mass. Just to visit. So it was.
Yeah, just you're gonna have to cover me because I'm gonna do a little reading.
Walks over to the monasteries.
And give me like a little warning before you cover me. So, hold on.
Reproduction of the Roman catacomb.
I have PNs left.
Yeah, I think that'll probably.
Yep.
So, right now the changing of the guard is on the ballot.
Yeah.
Not
Sure.
That's why it starts to what confidence is there?
Tomorrow, we're going to the White House.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Are you going again?
Yeah.
All right, I have an assignment.
Sean, Emma, good morning. We're still reading through that opinion, but right now the Supreme Court deciding to rule against the Colorado Supreme Court and determining that Donald Trump is in fact eligible to be on the primary ballot. Keep in mind that Colorado primary is set for tomorrow. Now, part of the ruling that came down just says that all 9 justices agreed to overturn Colorado's decision, and they said that in our view, each of these reasons is necessary to provide a complete explanation for the judgment the court unanimously reaches. The judgment of the Colorado Supreme Court is reversed, and the mandate shall issue forthwith. So a big decision here from the Supreme Court to overturn that Colorado decision. Donald Trump is going to be on the primary ballot regardless tomorrow in Colorado because those ballots had already been printed, but now the Supreme Court decided that he is in fact eligible to appear on that ballot in Colorado. So if you're going out to vote for Donald Trump, there's not that thought hanging over your head that he might be ruled ineligible. That decision coming down today, and it comes less than 1 month after the oral arguments for the Supreme Court. Sean, Emma, back to you.
About everything now. And one other thing, when you're walking to this room to the White House, probably what they look at the person. That's part of it.
I don't know, that's kind of
part of the I love walking around I live in actually, my favorite part of the city is Rock Creek Park. Runs right back there are here, and so I live right on the edge of the park. I go walking to the farm. I go to the farm all the time. It's unbelievable that even have no signs.
Sorry, I still have a question actually. There's some things we have to go through really tight and some things we don't. See what happens. I have this essay after school because I was talking to my teacher, like, because you get extra credit points if you write an essay about a film relating to our, like, what unit we're on, because I'm in 1890 history. And I asked him, like, hey, I'm going to Washington DC, like, is there any way I can get extra credit for this? And so the question, like, yeah, you can write an essay about, like, how does Washington, like, go into, like, you see, like, major perspectives on, like, the United States and the Constitution. So, you live here. So my question to you, like, how do you feel like your opinion about the United States or the Constitution or whatever has changed since you lived here? say?
I think that what I would say is that someone who also has a job that I learned that all of these things and to understand what's going on, of our how much power do they have? And how much power and then beyond that, and I think finally
Yeah, we made it work. I'm just. You're the best. You're the best. I'm making up the script. And are they on their way over yet? No, I'm talking about JT. Are they on their way over? Got it. And then 11 is the next one?
What's happening, why is it happening, and how is it
one of the reasons this year was and the Senate has a bill, and then the House during that time, the Republican senators most of the bill wound up voting against it.
What? Did you put it on the floor and then voted against it?
Yes, now. That we need to vote for Frank. But because of the politics demands and films about that issue in the Republican Party, in the Senate, voting against it. Sorry?
Someone's pulling it pretty hard.
I don't think so. Things are complicated. And I think that's and it's also a great example of how complicated it is. Sometimes they change the bill. Now, in the House of Representatives, almost right now, one of when the Ukraine bill failed in the House, one of the Republican voters switched his vote so that they have to be on the prevailing side of the bill in order to pass it. So it's politics. Well, the Ukraine vote in the House is so y'all everyone.
Yeah.
Where are you eating lunch?
That's probably going to be on the slide. that was actually going to be my next question for you. You know, certain cities are known for, we know Philly, we had a case, you know, you go to New York, Chicago, get everything. Is there anything you would recommend me to do? We don't have much on the menu.
Yep, yeah, L-U-R-I-O. Why are you going to do this?
Oh, I just want to see, I love watching Snow Fire. So I thought it was really cool. And also on the city. His cousin lives here, and we can do something about it. He's had Cuban and lots of fun.
How many walk up and back, park at Reservoir Road and walk up, and retro back, but that's the one I want to do. You have to think you have no idea. That's a great thing to do. Oh, by the way, actually, so you know, we have lots of students out and they all live.
You know, whether or not
coming down. In fact, it's that very hard.
You need it, well, this. You want an inexpensive dinner, you can grab something. You can grab something.
Does it have there? Was it hot? Just
No, I like those tips. And, we've been watching a lot of the things are very open and wide. And they're going to do this.
That's a man shit. That's
just think of just one you have to remember, and answer what no, not but at the end,
Those are rainy days.
roll down. So my recommendation, what you do is that go on the cabinet. I would just make a very and the nice thing about it is you're there, do the tour, keep on. I hear right now that you can take the tunnel over to the Jefferson Building for the last time. And it's open again. So keep on.
I walked a couple hot laps around there this morning trying to get day of tickets, so there's no way after that. They were getting ran out of the
Well, at least try it.
Go underneath the tunnel?
Yeah, it's right. You'll see the entrance. And hey, give it a shot and take the tunnel over. And she said,
yeah.
So the worst thing that's going to happen is no. And obviously it's a component. So they say no. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's thank you. You're right. Yeah. I read online you got to fill the 9 o'clock to the exam. I think it says you weren't able to when we wrote to our senator and asked him to step to the White House, they weren't able to do library time. And then when I went to do it, I so what we know, 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock, I was out there doing hot laps, and I'm like, I can't.
Okay, we're too far on hospital. All right, most of the Air and Space Museum here is closed. But out at Dulles, there's a Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. You got a car? Go out there one day.
You got everything ready?
Drive out there, spend a couple of hours.
Okay.
The space shuttle.
I don't know.
There. And the SR-71 Blackbird.
I don't like it being the first element, but yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
All you got to do is probably pay for parking. I'm not sure about that. Too far.
Yeah.
VA or positive.
Yeah, apparently at full screen. I gotta get my phone set up right now. So.
How do you get your food end up with a test or something? The invitation or something?
Yeah, that's up to me. I'll get the phone up, I'll dial in, and then you come to me. Thanks.
The one that's right here.
Yeah, so you can make it out to dollars. UDDAR HA. That's the guy's name who funded up all the money. So, typically, Monday, Tuesday are slow. Friday, and then if I work Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, and then Tuesday. So, largely we pick up the next
And then we're gonna do this is me, and I'm not even this is
I thought you would be the hungriest one.
Yeah, they be hungry. Yeah, I'm like, she's like, the best. I'm thinking about the food. I'm just a little jealous right now. Puffed up. But I still care. I'm salty right now.
I'm trying to find a spot to name my learning something. I'll tell you next year. So I'm trying to find a 10-year spot to go to.
What did you make that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Been on the State Department's website for the last 8
Just
months.
don't let them come before I'm ready.
First two.
You know where? Go.
It's fine.
I used to stay in Obey, but I haven't been in a long time. Obey is that's scary. Yeah, that's it. I haven't been in a long time. Like,
you have to go on their website free, you can go online and go online.
if you saw it, how old you be? Because they know that's where all the yeah, they know that's where all the tours are.
Yeah, what's up there?
You know where we went.
That's why I got on State Department.
But the girls are still good.
The girls did it there's no
The main attraction.
You know, I'm just following the script that I have here. You know, I'll say, yeah, that's. Well, Sean, Emma, good morning. And Donald Trump, the former president of the United States and the Republican frontrunner, who obviously today's decision is largely about in terms of his eligibility on the ballot, says this Supreme Court decision was a big win for America. Keep in mind that the justices, with a 6-3 conservative majority, ruled 9-0 in this decision. It was a unanimous decision, and in the ruling, the justices said, quote, responsibility for enforcing Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates rests with Congress and not the states. The judgment of the Colorado Supreme Court therefore cannot stand. All 9 members of the court agree with that result, unquote. Now, this Supreme Court ruling also decided Trump's eligibility on the ballot in states that aren't just Colorado, including Maine and Illinois, where there are similar challenges underway. It makes it clear that Congress, not the states, has to set rules on how the 14th Amendment provision can be enforced. And keep in mind that this decision comes just one day before Colorado's primary and also less than a month after oral arguments. Again, Team Trump is considering this a win as he will remain on the ballot through the primaries and likely into November for the general election, where they match up likely against President Joe Biden, the two frontrunners right now for 2024.
So we got 19 here.
The back.
Might do that this year.
Yeah, that is
I never went to that, but I went to where they had the I took pictures of it.
when I said that, when I saw it, I was like, thank you, God. It was so So this is like, it had like all these natural rules. That's just like a regular show. And then
Let me see.
this is like,
Oh yeah, I think that's where I went.
Everywhere was like, these kind of
And one time, the first time I went there,
but it was just July, August, September. So like, honestly, if we went there, go there.
Is that an excursion off the resort of this?
It's not. Yeah, it's not necessarily an excursion. You just drive it yourself. It's like a national park. But like, this is how low the water is, and you just hike over it, and then
take that from
Then maybe that would check.
I am. Sit down. Shut up and sit down.
it's easier to this. This is the second hike.
11 nights.
It's like, I was like, I'll go
11
here.
nights?
Like, I don't need to catch the ferry.
Sounds good. And I'm ready.
No, you ain't testing the phone.
I
think I was in that place. Yeah. This is when I was small. So look at y'all there. Think I did. I was small.
Like you can see like the shopping center.
I want to go there. What's the name of it?
I got to record it.
Well, you can test it out.
And they have like
The whole building there. Okay, it's something you make a bit of a habit.
Thank you very much.
So, alright. I'm good, how are you?
Oh, that's it.
But I had discussions with them. Why do I have
Now, Eric.
better than no hours, but everybody else did. That's long.
They have all kinds of books.
Look at it when I was at this time, and it's, I
They talk about the soldiers and how those are those
We do.
My internet's there. I dropped a little bit.
It's my actual wife.
My great arm.
You know how it is.
So he actually from my birthday.
I go out to the local. Into the gun.
I love being on the water, so I do the ferry.
I see it.
Yeah, it's literally right on. Super big. So they have two beds apart. And then there's a huge ass deck that overlooks all of it. So you have your own private beach that you can just chill out. It's a really cute like bar. And then it's very the drive is very and to go out to and he can lay in the bed or wherever. And what do you think driving around?
There's a ton of hotels.
Just relax.
And that's what I want to do this year. 10 years from now. So this life you can go ahead, lay back and relax.
I the one thing that I would say because I feel like the food not just fake, the food is not the same.
Okay.
So whether your expectations are I don't know.
I always tell her she cooks so good, like wherever I go, I do my expectations. So, I mean, because when you cook with Scotch farming and real stuff and thyme and all this stuff, and then you go somewhere and they just
bland as hell. That's why I eat at home.
Well, I have had many
Already over. I gotta get my hair cut.
But you said they got a kitchen? Show me a grocery store?
Oh, that's what I'm doing. I look for those.
Where your produce at?
Yeah, I love that. That option.
Yes.
he clearly yes, but also would say
I go to grocery store.
You gotta go to GM to find that good stuff. Otherwise, you're wasting
ironically enough, it was essentially
Okay, those are all the questions I have. Do you have anything else? This is just a no, I actually go to American University up here in DC, but I'm from Texas. Yeah, they're perfect. I appreciate your support. A lot of people are not big fans of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my vegan That's a taco, but this is a pizza right here. I mean, that's not taco, that's a nacho. That's a pizza. That's what the chicken. No. The other thing you saw was the nacho. This is a, no, it's a pizza. I just.
It's vegan.
It's vegan. It's a vegan pepperoni. Prepared.
What do they use?
That's probably tofu.
Okay. My mother used to get tofu when I was little. Tofu and broccoli. And she would buy, we didn't buy soy sauce, she would buy the amino acid.
It's not amino acid.
No, the bottle used to say that, amino acid.
I know
You didn't even say soy sauce.
But that's good for you, amino.
It doesn't sound.
It doesn't say good at all.
But it tastes like soy sauce.
Yeah.
Well, some of those packets, you know, the little stuff when you look in there, there's no soy. And the ingredients, I swear to God, I'm like, what the hell is this?
Who knows what it is?
Definitely ain't had to stop it. Very, you get anywhere. Yeah, it was. It's too expensive.
Thank you for sharing. We got your shit.
They do this. Thank you.
I'm good. And what? She is a mess. She turned up. You got turned up and you ain't even there yet. No,
I have all the bits.
she is turned all the way up.
She got me with that one. I'm like, man.
You heard me say that shit?
Hey, that's our vacation ready.
She turned up.
I can't wait.
Well, what is put your we said lesson to me? Oh yeah, you already there.
I'm so excited.
So you know
You
what?
went into the train?
I'm tired already. Bro.
Yeah, I know they were though, but when and then you can't. Don't you don't have any. You can't. It's that first 5 minutes. You don't get that. That's when you get your breath together. That's when you get your eyes and then you just sit there. I learned that.
Wow, I'm
No, I never did that. Not at least me.
Hey, so the last email I sent you, we'll do what we use. It includes the
It's paper.
I'm gonna take it.
So 20 miles.
I can see
Can you walk it over? Just keep walking. You lower down. I get it. That's what I'm telling you. I get tired.
We'll do that between 11 and 12:40.
Question. Is agenda put anything in there or not?
Okay.
Before you run?
Okay, so my plan for today would be, so Michael and I will be here for 11, 12:40, and 1. We'll record in the middle, and then we'll head back to the office maybe if there's nothing later.
He's the one that stood on the list and urged the mob to come to the Capitol. When the violence started to got severe, we thought it would be Trump was immediately knowing that
This is big thing. What's up?
law enforcement like the light. The only thing he had was to prove that that's what I mean by violence. And
That's why I'm trying to force myself. I'm forcing myself. That's why you don't want to just sit to the big decision. It's such a thing for your whole family.
Move this stuff. Okay. Yeah, let me just, I'll slide. You got lucky too. I think it's supposed to be in the next 3 days. Which also, that's something you should take into account. Yes. So, couple ideas.
I'm just getting hungry now. My mom said that she got a fight.
But I do look at it. I use my
son, Donald Trump
What's that?
And then how do you want me to do ISP on my phone?
Chicken breast in the morning. A couple of borders or so.
By the way, getting back on right, but and I gave you back. Because my interpretation is if he comes back guilty,
And tomorrow's going to be
more likely than not, the guy
so it's going to be
They said, we
Referring other people to other states.
No. Because I feel like you started like right after I left you.
Yeah, it's usually like
I ain't never heard of
So
it.
that's it gives me facts where a Democratic politician went and urged the crowd on and said, hey, let's give you weapons. I don't care about the fact that you have weapons. They're not going to hurt me. They're not here to hurt me. They're going to hurt Democratic politicians. And then urge them on to the Capitol, and then bring the violence again and stop it.
Well, this is a historic day. You guys required me to
You know what? That's your
from this time. I know I'm at 11, so thanks.
morning. Somebody's going to look at that.
Something's not right. Because I asked
So my last live died. So I got like 2 hours left. I got to knock out. So I got these at 11, 12, 14.
But you know, that's what happens.
I mean, I still have to sell.
You need it, it's not know that, and it's just
Yeah.
But I don't think he was incorrect. Why is
Live view. Live view. Yeah, we're done with these Arabs.
fresh background somewhere usually
I'm with Mike and Jason. We're still getting everything set up. They're sending that shit. Oh, sorry, hold on 1 second. I keep stepping on my wire. Accepting my
what I'm saying.
yeah, we'll have it up to you in like a minute. Live here, correct. You'll see us as Supreme Court. Alright, thank you. New York. And if you guys can switch me to an IFP one, I appreciate that.
50,000 registered voters in DC. You go in a Republican primary with 1,400.
Yeah, just because it's I like kombucha, but I like the
You don't put it but anyway. But they said, yeah, I got it.
Looks like a fan of this. Yeah, hold on a second.
I just like
I'm not going to be doing it because it's
Yeah, I hear you. I just got to put my phone. Okay, we're working on it.
yeah, without overtime. I like the
that's your favorite cat.
I just only
We don't see you. And I want to be like, wow, come for the third time this hour. Every guest is talking about it.
Yeah, that's no, of course.
I like
Okay? Oh, you guys, puppets, looking for the money.
and it was making all this I am the voice. I am the voice. There you go.
No, they say they didn't have a really broad, range of things. They kept it within. So, yeah.
I got a really crappy one. It's like every fifth word cuts out.
Instead of margin, they never had to march progress.
Well, I'll just put it to you this way: like it can work for my hit. It can work for my hit because I have no sods. Hold on, I mean, like, really? Okay, we're still setting up here, so if you want to, like, come here before we're ready, go ahead. We got 2 minutes. Yeah, I know he's joking. Well, no, Damon's like, we're coming to you in a minute, and then audio's like, hey, we got to check Yep.
I need help.
We got a nervous thing to feel like 60.
No, it don't. No, it's good.
I like it. So this is like.
Don't go like over there.
But you know how big it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not, but I'm looking at it. What's the name of that? Oh,
That's what turkey burger out here.
We don't have much time. They're going to come to us and we're not ready.
Oh, yeah.
oh, like literally the letter.
New hour.
Hurry up, son! Hurry up!
Okay, I see it. Okay.
Oh! That's gonna hurt.
मैग्नीट्यूड ही नहीं हो
I love that.
A baby, that's me. That's baby Sid. Baby Sid, they're coming for them dollars.
I didn't follow it till it's like.
No, you can tell people about
Sean Emma, good morning. And the Supreme Court affirmed Donald Trump's eligibility to be on the ballot for the presidential primaries as early as tomorrow, including in Colorado. That was the state that was challenging this matter. And the Colorado Supreme Court had ruled that Donald Trump was ineligible to be on the ballot, but today's decision by the U.S. Supreme Court overturns that decision. It was unanimous, 9-0, and the justices, in their opinion, said, quote, responsibility for enforcing Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates rests with Congress and not the states. The judgment of the Colorado Supreme Court therefore cannot stand. All 9 members of the court agree with that result, unquote. Now, this Supreme Court ruling also decided that Trump's eligibility on the ballot in other states will go through, including Illinois and Maine. They had similar challenges pending there, and it made it clear that Congress, not the states, has to set rules on how the 14th Amendment provision can be enforced. Now, Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, is weighing in on today's decision. She says, quote, the Supreme Court unanimously showed us today that we cannot silence the voice of the American people and stop democracy. I've said it before, lawfare will not stand, due process will not be denied, and we the people will make our choice at the ballot box, unquote. So again, this decision coming down just one day before the Super Tuesday primaries, which includes the Colorado primary tomorrow. A big decision keeping Donald Trump on the ballot, eligible on the ballot, and Donald Trump says that today's Supreme Court decision was a big win for America. Sean, Emma, back to you. Should I do some recording now? I just got to keep an eye on them because they're getting, you know how, hold on a second. You know how it gets. So it's kind of like, so, yeah.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, we'll move that here.
I don't always have to.
And we'll do.
You know what I'm looking I need champagne. I need champagne.
I'm so happy you guys are here because I have a tripod at home, and like this one is like one opening away from a leg falling out. So I'm just like hoping maybe I can throw this out of bed for it. The legs are very like they're gonna like just slide out. You can tell when you open it. But like I have a backup at home. I'm like I think I can get one more day out of it.
Okay, let's go ahead and...
Yeah, I got my phone, so I'll put that on there, and then I gotta grab the lights.
Well, thank you. And I'm gonna text you about
That also kind of surprises me a bit.
like normally where you keep it, like you keep them right here.
Yeah.
Wide enough. I mean,
Yeah.
out the way.
Yeah, that's fine. If I have to do a little adjustment, you like these sandbags? It's water sandbag.
I'm a little jealous.
So if I'm at the Pentagon, instead of actually like having to find sand or rocks, I'll just go in the bathroom, run some water, and but I have like the actual sandbags. But these are easy. So if we get thirsty, if we run out of water,
Yeah, you gotta be somewhere right to hit the same way.
It's a nice day, yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
probably gonna have to go in and get some in a bit. If you need water or anything right now, I'll be right here if you need to go grab anything. You're good. Yeah, I got to do a little bit of recording, and to my knowledge, 12:40.
Made bagels out of beets. Yeah, I'm gonna be beets.
No, she's there. I bet they come out.
She ground up some beets and it's sat all the way down. But oh shit, I can do that.
If it's good, that ain't hard. I could do it.
It was fucking so finally I got my doctor.
They think you're
Yeah, no, it's not. It was like, it took me a year to get it back. Because, well, first they tried to give me they want to give me this gel first. Everybody tries to abuse it. So it's hard to get it approved. It's hard to get it approved. The cream is the cheapest, but it doesn't really do it. So I finally had to keep asking them to like go for injection. It's a pain in the ass.
literally.
They would give me a month's worth of it before injection, and then it would make me insane. And then by the end of it, it was like then I do it, and I'm insane again. And then the guy said, it makes you cranky, just it's just okay.
I don't want to
I numeri, sicuramente forte sui numeri.
Cos'è un
Yes, please. This pretty much happened like you thought it would?
Yeah. Liberals are a little upset that they went farther.
What we're doing. Why is it slow motion? Make it better. I put it in your phone. When you put it in there. Yeah, I can do it. There's one second. Yeah, but when you put it in there. No, I don't.
Alfredo. Alfredo.
That is so funny. You put it on 2 times. Like, oh, how did you? I don't know.
Alfredo, you need to hold on.
So, I got to do some wage works today. That's what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
I'm just
All right, so
In a unanimous 9-0 ruling, the justices said, quote, responsibility for enforcing Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates rests with Congress and not the states. The judgment of the Colorado Supreme Court therefore cannot stand. All 9 members of the court agree with that result, unquote. In a unanimous ruling, the justices said, quote, responsibility for enforcing Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates rests with Congress and not the states. The judgment of the Colorado Supreme Court, therefore, cannot stand. All 9 members of the court agree with that result, unquote. The Supreme Court ruling also decided Trump's eligibility on the ballot in other states that have similar challenges pending, like Maine and Illinois, making it clear that Congress, not the states, has to set rules on how the 14th Amendment provision can be enforced. Making it clear that Congress, not the states, has to set rules on how the 14th Amendment provision can be enforced. Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, says, quote, the Supreme Court unanimously showed us today that we cannot silence the voice of the American people and stop democracy. I've said it before, lawfare will not stand, due process will not be denied, and we the people will make our choice at the ballot box, unquote. Lawfare will not stand, due process will not be denied, and we the people will make our choice at the ballot box, unquote.
Okay. So, what happened?
well, I mean, so how do you want to do this? You want me to just say
Yeah,
we're gonna.
They don't want you saying your name at the top anymore.
Okay.
Just go right in.
Okay. A unanimous Supreme Court restored former President Donald Trump to ballots across the country. The court ruled that efforts in Colorado and Maine and Illinois could not stand, that only Congress can set the rules for disqualifying candidates under a constitutional provision that was adopted after the Civil War to prevent people, former office holders who had engaged in insurrection, from holding power again. All 9...
stepping in to reverse Colorado's Supreme Court decision that declared Donald Trump ineligible to appear on the presidential ballot. And the Supreme Court's decision to declare Trump eligible for ballots in Colorado and other states comes just... Ed, good evening. The Supreme Court unanimously affirming Donald Trump's eligibility to appear on the presidential ballot in Colorado and other states, reversing the Colorado Supreme Court decision. And again, this came with a...
I know, but we're human.
Ed, good evening. It was a major decision today from the U.S. Supreme Court stepping in to overrule the Colorado Supreme Court decision to declare Donald Trump ineligible on the presidential primary ballot. And today's Supreme Court ruling will make... Ed, good evening. A major decision today from the U.S. Supreme Court which affirmed Donald Trump's eligibility on the Colorado presidential primary ballot just one day ahead of the Colorado primaries, and that is a reversal of the Colorado Supreme Court decision that had declared Trump ineligible to appear on the ballot. And with 6 conservative justices and 3 liberal justices here on the court, they all decided that the former president should be eligible to appear on the ballot in Colorado as well as other states like Illinois and Maine.
Civil rights era as opposed to now.
Mike, we actually are at we're at 12, 1, and 2. So 12:40 became 12. Are you going to stay here? Yeah, I'm just gonna hop in a cannon. So we'll dial in 15. So yeah, I'll be quick.
Start running back.
Still hanging out with the
Are you ready to get started?
They always don't think you're on. I'm like, what is this? You're in some archive somewhere, cutting room floor shots.
I just like to just want to be late, so it's very
In Maryland,
Yeah, the one that got me on, she took a staff job at CBS. She did like I was telling Big telling I'm a legend, but I don't get the picture, man. You ain't right with me. I always try to pay something. I don't understand. Give me a check. Give me a check. Give me a check. Okay, give me your damn check. You could just treat it like I was. You could just You couldn't make it. You couldn't make it. You couldn't. You couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't do it.
I was a freelancer back when I was a freelancer. It
But that's basically what I'm saying. Bye, buddy.
Oye, y entonces, ¿cuándo te sucedió eso?
Sure.
Es para
And all you do is you take this and put that directly into the battery. You can run right off the battery. Yeah, just hang the back So there's that. Take that battery with you tomorrow. You asked one, but yes, there is a. I asked one about the charger, but yeah, there is a charger. You're only gone for 1 day. You know the charger. And then the one thing that happened. I had just the one
Suprema de Estados Unidos dictaminó este lunes que el expresidente Donald Trump permanecerá en la boleta primaria de Colorado a rechazar una impugnación sobre su elegibilidad para otro mandato, que podría haber significado Corte Suprema de Estados Unidos dictaminó este lunes que el expresidente Donald Trump permanecerá en la boleta primaria de Colorado a rechazar una impugnación sobre su elegibilidad para otro mandato. Podría haber trastocado la carrera presidencial al sacarlo de la presidencia de todo el país, aunque los jueces ofrecieron diferentes razones, la decisión fue unánime. Todos estuvieron de acuerdo en que los estados individuales no pueden prohibir los candidatos para cargos federales. Recordemos que este caso reciente surgió de una petición presentada por seis votantes de Colorado que buscaban descalificar a Trump de la boleta para las primarias republicanas del estado de la Corte Suprema de Colorado, dándole razón a Trump. Sin embargo, para la Corte Suprema de Estados Unidos, juzgar insensibles es un papel estatal y debería ser una vida para ese país. En redes sociales, Donald Trump celebró este pacto, definiéndolo como una gran victoria para Estados Unidos. Ya que orden el de la Corte Suprema de Estados Unidos para la Alianza Informativa Latinoamericana.
¿Puedo enseñar?
What do they do inside this building? What do they judge based upon? Alright, let's talk about how things work here. I mentioned before the United States gave research, there's not a committee, drafted a bill, voted on it in the House, voted on it. Set it up to the president, great. What do we all do?
Corte Suprema de Estados Unidos dictaminó este lunes que el expresidente Donald Trump permanecerá en la boleta primaria de Colorado a rechazar una impugnación sobre su elegibilidad para otro mandato, democracia de los estados, la carrera presidencial a sacarlo de las cosas con todo el país. Aunque los jueces ofrecieron diferentes razones, la decisión fue unánime. Todos estuvieron de acuerdo en que los estados no pueden pedir cargos para cargos federales. Una disposición constitucional siempre es de 2014 a los estados ocupan cargos federales. Es decir, el fallo más importante de desde el caso Bush-Cheney que dejó con la presidencia. Recordemos que este caso reciente surgió de una información presentada por seis votantes de Colorado que buscaron descalificar a Trump de la boleta para las primarias republicanas del estado con la Corte Suprema de Colorado, dando razón. Siendo que Trump en los eventos del 6 de enero de 2021 el asalto al Capitolio había participado en la Suprema. Sin embargo, para la Corte Suprema de Estados Unidos, juzgar estos hechos no es un papel estatal que debería ser manejado por los partidos. En sus redes sociales, Donald Trump celebró este fallo y lo dio una gran victoria para Estados Unidos. Voz de América por Estados Unidos.
If the lower court said yes, then my law, but the appellate court says, all right, the judge of the lower court was wrong, but the law is my law,
Ahora acá hablar. Sin embargo, no se paga, ¿sabes? Ahora ella está haciendo algo parecido, casi. No sabe hacer. El futuro, o sea,
Boom, what a threat.
No. There? There's basketball court in
we just log
Hey.
So 12, 12:40, 1, 2, 4.
Para el expresidente Donald Trump en la Corte Suprema de Justicia, el Estado de Colorado busca eliminar directamente del
No, está muy seguro.
Yeah, they make those things pretty cheap, but
Yeah, they're not hard to fix.
all right.
Grupo para el expresidente Donald Trump en la Corte Suprema de Justicia. El Estado de Colorado busca eliminar electoral. Buenas tardes. La Corte Suprema de
Well.
Hey, what's up? Hey, I'm dialing in for, I have big, it's 5 sorry.
Pues bien, la Corte Suprema de Justicia hoy reversó la decisión que estaba liberada de Donald Trump en la Corte a ser incluido en el tarjetón electoral. Por unanimidad, el 9 magistrados de la Corte Suprema de Justicia determinaron que ningún Estado puede tomar una decisión así y solamente el gobierno de los Estados Unidos podría eliminar a Donald Trump del tarjetón electoral. Es un triunfo para el expresidente Donald Trump, quien celebró a través de su red social Truth, quien dijo que lo que él considera un plan de los demócratas está fallando. Por ahora queda otra decisión que la Corte Suprema de Justicia tendrá que tomar durante esta semana, y es si el expresidente es o no inmune frente al caso de la suposición del centro cuando sucedió una insurrección en el territorio de los Estados Unidos. Es la información desde Washington. Regreso con ustedes a los estudios. Que tengan buena tarde.
It's Logan. I tried, it was busy, so is it free or is it still going to be busy?
Yeah.
Alright, let me try it again.
Ahora vamos a titular el ETN. Ah, no.
There we go.
Ya, no va. Solo eso nomás. Ya, gracias. Chao.
Florida. It's complicated actually right now. Florida, 12:40 for JPN is New York, and then back to Florida at 1. Yeah, and then I guess it's back to New York at 2 for Bobby.
In Congress's hands now. I'm wondering if you all have, been in contact with any Congress members, or, if this is sort of the end of the road for you, what your kind of partnership looks like there and what actions there might be to move this forward.
I'm happy to jump in. I guess I would start by saying, this is not remotely the end of the road for us. I think we believe today, as we did yesterday, that Donald Trump poses an imminent threat, a clear and present danger to our democracy, that the framers of the 14th Amendment had it right when they concluded that those who attacked the Republic, who attacked the democratic form of government that we all hold dear, are a danger to do so again. I think Donald Trump's doubling down on his defense of January 6th and his anti-democratic intentions, should he be reelected, confirm the wisdom of the framers of the 14th Amendment. So we're not going anywhere. We care deeply about this. We think the law and the Constitution are clear that that Donald Trump is prohibited from office, even if an enforcement mechanism has been taken off the table. I think as far as what the steps are going forward, we're just reading this along with you all, and I think we are figuring out whether there are steps in connection with this provision. And we certainly have worked closely with members of Congress. Actually, 2 members of Congress testified at the evidentiary hearing that was held in Colorado. There are other members of Congress who have spoken out about the 14th Amendment's disqualification clause. So we certainly expect there will be interest in Congress as to whether there is a practical path forward for congressional action. I think it's early to say that, and I think we'll be looking into that, and we'll be looking into what other avenues there might be, whether it's rooted in the 14th Amendment or otherwise, to try to protect democracy from those who have attacked it.
And I would add to what Noah said that there's issues for Congress, and then there's also issues for the American public. And I think that the court's opinion also tees up the question, to the American public of, you also get to decide whether you think that this person is eligible to hold the office. And in the same way that most people wouldn't think to vote for Barack Obama or George W. Bush for a third term because the Constitution says you can only hold 2 terms. Or in the same way that most people wouldn't vote for someone who was born abroad or who's too young to constitutionally be eligible to be the president. We think it's a compelling argument that people should really consider whether they want to vote for president for somebody who has been adjudicated in a trial in Colorado to be an insurrectionist and therefore to be ineligible to hold the office.
All right, and now we're going to hear from Zach Montalaro at Politico. Zach, you there?
Hey, y'all. Thanks for doing this. I think I typed my question in earlier, and I think you might mostly addressed it, but I'll just re-up it. What is Cruz's level of concern, I guess, on like a post-election attempt to disqualify a president-elect Trump if he wins? If he does indeed win the election in 8 months or whatever, would a post-election attempt to disqualify him under the insurrection clause and not to count as electoral votes be the right path to take if the American public does vote him in?
I guess I'm happy to jump in. I think it is. I think it's premature to, at least for me, to weigh in on that. I think that we do continue to believe that Donald Trump is, as Donald Sherman said earlier, is as of now constitutionally disqualified because he did engage in insurrection after swearing an oath to support the Constitution, and we don't see anything in today's opinion that changes that. As Jason said earlier, along with Congress, the American people have a role in determining, what they're going to do with findings that support the conclusion that this is a candidate who is constitutionally ineligible. Obviously, congressional action on January 6th would be an unprecedented step, and in terms of thinking through both whether the Supreme Court left that option open and also whether that option is the best thing for democracy, I think we have some reading and some thinking to do on that. But we do think that going forward, not only is there still an open case, but we think that there is a clear case that Donald Trump remains prohibited from office under the 14th Amendment, and that'll be something for Congress and for the American people to grapple with in the months going forward.
So obviously we all thought we should win, but your question is emblematic of why the off-ramps that the court took and the off-ramp that the court took in this particular instance doesn't answer all of the questions. This is the part of the conversation where I note that a bipartisan majority in the House and then 57 senators, and you can't get 57 senators to vote for anything, have already voted that Donald Trump incited an insurrection. And so, I think there's a question for Congress. And I think the threshold question is, we believe that the disqualification already exists. I think the question for Congress is potentially, does it exist now? Do they need to remove the disqualification by 2/3 majority? But again, the reason why these questions remain is because the court took an off-ramp where we believe that it shouldn't have, that is not supported by the text, not supported by the law. But we have always said that we would abide by the court's decision. We hope that Congress follows the law, and the court has left some of these questions for them to work out.
Great. All right, and now we'll hear from Sam Levine at The Guardian. Sam, if you want to ask your question.
Hi, thank you guys for doing the call. I just wanted to follow up on a couple of the questions that have been asked. I mean, just more specifically, do you guys think today's decision, precludes any effort after the election for Congress to try and not count votes for Trump if he wins the election? Because the majority opinion seems to have some thoughts on that, saying that they would be very skeptical of any effort short of passing legislation, I think the language they use is up to and even perhaps after the inauguration. So, in your view, does today's decision leave open that possibility of trying to block, of Congress, using its power to try and block certification of the Trump win?
Jason, I don't know if you wanted to start that.
Yeah, I think that gets to issues that we've already touched on before that we need to look at a little bit more closely. But certainly the three concurring justices seemed to read the majority opinion that way. They seemed to say that you would need an actual act of Congress providing a specific mechanism for enforcing Section 3 and not just trying to enforce that constitutional provision through general laws like the Electoral Count Reform Act. It's really not clear where the majority is getting that notion. Certainly, there's nothing in the text or history of the 14th Amendment that would support that conclusion. But it does seem to be at least implicit in the ruling today that trying to enforce Section 3 through other means other than specifically enumerated legislation would raise serious questions, legal questions under the decision today. But we're continuing to look at that.
All right, and we are going to hear now from William Hibbets at Jurist. William, can you ask your question?
Hi, yes. At the beginning of the conference here, you highlighted the fact that the court left in place the Colorado Supreme Court's finding that Trump did engage in insurrection. And subsequently, we've discussed how there is division on the court relating to the mechanism that Congress is to use to enforce this legislation. I was wondering, do you believe that the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, was unwilling to touch on the Colorado court's factual findings because of underlying division or concern about political ramifications?
I don't want to speculate too much on the sort of motivations of the justices. I think what we as sort of the legal team in this case feel very strongly about is that the law and the facts were undeniable on Donald Trump's engagement in insurrection. There was from the U.S. Supreme Court to the dissenters on the Colorado Supreme Court to the trial courts that have looked at this. We haven't really seen anybody who has really attempted to take issue with the legal conclusion, the factual and legal conclusion that January 6, 2021 was an insurrection and Donald Trump engaged in insurrection. So clearly what you had today was a Supreme Court that was not comfortable getting to a place of removing Donald Trump from the ballot under this provision. But I think recognized that there was no credible way to open up the issue of Donald Trump's engagement in insurrection and to even try to make a case that conclusion wasn't supported. As a matter of law, the decision below was reversed, so it doesn't stand up. But those conclusions about Donald Trump's engagement in insurrection, they didn't even try to lay a finger on that, because I think ultimately they really couldn't. There just was no basis that with a straight face they could pursue to really even any of the justices seemed to believe that they could pursue to take issue with that conclusion. So I don't know exactly what their motivations were, but I would come back to the fact that just the facts in the law weren't there to open those issues up.
And one more question from Daniel at Scripps. Would the Supreme Court decision allow the DC Code writ of quo warranto statute to be enforced? Donald?
So, Adam, let me go back to the first question. Just to say, we saw a couple of concurrences in this case. There was no concurrence also supporting the idea that Donald Trump was not an insurrectionist or that January 6th wasn't an insurrection. And so I think that's noteworthy as well. With respect to the DC Quo Warranto statute, that is a great question. I have not an answer for you at this moment, but that is certainly something that as we read the decision and then read the statute, which we've read before, but not obviously in this context, that we may have some thought on. But whether we would share that with this group, probably not.
Great. All right. And I think that we are going to end here. Noah, Donald, Jason, I don't know if you have any final thoughts to say before we close out the call. Noah?
I'd say only this, just that I think in some ways the sort of easy story to tell today is Donald Trump won. Donald Trump's on the ballot, and certainly, as one of the questioners pointed out, that is, as a matter of winning and losing, that is true. But I don't believe that actually tells the story of what what this decision from this Supreme Court is actually saying and is actually doing. That when you see a court sort of trying so hard to find a narrow technical off ramp and not even addressing for a moment the ultimate findings that Donald Trump was an oath-breaking insurrectionist, that has to be a major part of how we look at this. And with that, I would just say thank you all for joining us, for your attention to this incredibly important case for not just for sort of jurisprudence, but for democracy.
Thank you. And if all of you, we have recorded this, so if you like the recording, please reach out to our press team. We can send that to you. And as always, send us any other questions that you have. Thank you so much.
switched for a long time.
Kasi ako na ano.
He's one of the bigger stock traders in the know. Fallon too. Seems to be guys who played football. You know Fallon, he won a national championship. Notre Dame. Played for Lou Holtz. Yeah. I forget who else was on that team. But, yeah, like 1988. Oh yeah, Tuberville was Ole Miss, Auburn, Texas Tech, and Cincinnati. 60 games over 500, one Coach of the Year award. They don't like him over at the time. Never heard one politician's name mentioned more than that. He would just let this all. So, I guess I dial into 3369 New York and then they'll transfer me for IFB.
And they worked long, they worked hard, and frankly, they worked very quickly on something that will be spoken about 100 years from now and 200 years from now. Extremely important. Essentially, you cannot take somebody out of a race because an opponent would like to have it that way. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it's the leading candidate, whether it was the leading candidate or a candidate that was well down on the totem pole. You cannot take somebody out of a race. The voters can take the person out of the race very quickly, but a court shouldn't be doing that, and the Supreme Court saw that very well. And I really do believe that will be a unifying factor, because while most states were thrilled to have me, there were some that didn't, and they didn't want that for political reasons. They didn't want that because of poll numbers, because the poll numbers are very good. We're beating President Biden in almost every poll. New York Times came out yesterday with a very big poll for us. So they didn't like that, and you can't do that. You can't do what they tried to do. And hopefully Colorado, as an example, will unify. I know there's tremendous support. They brought our support up very strong in Colorado, because people in Colorado thought that was a terrible thing that they did. And while we're on the subject, and another thing that will be coming up very soon will be immunity for a president, and not immunity for me, but for any president. If a president doesn't have full immunity, you really don't have a president, because nobody that is serving in that office will have the courage to make, in many cases, what would be the right decision, or it could be the wrong decision. It could be, in some cases, the wrong decision, but they have to make decisions, and they have to make them free of all terror that can be rained upon them when they leave office, or even before they leave office. And some decisions are very tough. I can tell you that as a president, that some decisions to make are very tough. I took out ISIS, and I took out some very big people from the standpoint of a different part of the world. Two of the leading terrorists, probably the two leading terrorists ever that we've ever seen in this world. And those are big decisions. I don't want to be prosecuted for it. Another president wouldn't want to be prosecuted for it. It had a tremendously positive impact. It stopped everything cold. And sometimes you have to make those. They were tough decisions. Sometimes you have to make decisions like that. When you make a decision, you don't want to have your opposing party or opponent, or even somebody that just thinks you're wrong, bring a criminal suit against you, or any kind of a suit when you leave office. I have that right now at a level that nobody's ever seen before. I have rogue prosecutors, and I have rogue judges. I have judges that are out of control. And it's a very unfair thing for me, but serving perhaps as a sample to others of what should not be happening when you make good decisions. And in my case, the economy was great. We didn't go into any wars. We totally defeated ISIS. We provided the largest tax cuts in history. We provided the largest regulation cuts in history. But think of it, no wars. We beat ISIS 100% of the caliphate. Then there were no wars. We did a job that was great, but maybe I wouldn't have done that. The caliphate, defeating them, was very powerful. It was going to take 4 years. It took me 4 months, but it was a very strong dictum that I gave. I said, get them, defeat them, end it. We were fighting for 20 years against ISIS, and we did it very quickly. I don't want to be prosecuted. In that case, it worked out very well. There will be some things that perhaps don't work out so well, but I don't want to be prosecuted because I decided to do something that is very much for the good of the country, and actually for the good of the world. A president shouldn't have that on his mind, and he has to have a free and clear mind when he makes very big decisions, or it's going to be nothing more than a ceremonial post. You'll be president, it'll be a wonderful thing, and you won't do anything because you don't want to be hit by your opponent or hit by somebody else, because who wants to leave office and go through what I've gone through? I'm being prosecuted by Biden, my opponent, because every one of these things, whether it's Fannie Willis or Bragg, these are local and state, but they're in total coordination with the White House. You can't do that. It shouldn't be done. I mean, a thing like that. In the case of the DA's office, they put one of the top people, maybe the second person, in the Manhattan DA's office to get Trump. They had a Hillary Clinton lawyer leave the law firm, very prestigious big law firm, leave the law firm to go into the DA's office to get Trump, Pomerantz, Mr. Pomerantz. So he goes in to become a prosecutor, worked for the Democrat Party and Hillary Clinton, goes in to prosecute Donald Trump at a local level, in total coordination with the Department of Justice, meaning Biden. And then you have the Fani Willis, or as she would say, Fani, F-A-N-I, but Fani. And she hired somebody, knew the person long before this horrible prosecution took place, and she went out and she paid him an unbelievable amount of money, more money than he ever had dreamt possible, much more money than other people that do that for a living. He never did it at all, had no experience in it at all. And they had obviously a conflict. We don't have to go into that, but they were able to get a lot of money because it was a high-profile person. Me, I'm a very high-profile person. So they were able to pay him close to $1 million when he was not equipped to do the job, and she's not equipped to do the job, and that case should end immediately. That case is so conflicted, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And then you have deranged Jack Smith, who's a Trump hater and represents all the Trump haters, and he's going wild. He's just a wild man. He's been overturned unanimously by the Supreme Court. Went after other people over the years. He's had great failure, but he's mean, he's nasty, he's unfair, and the judges on these cases, they're all Trump haters, other than we have maybe one or two that I think can be fair. But you look at New York, what's happened. I mean, these people have tremendous hatred. You can't do this to a president. And again, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about in the future. A president has to be free. A president has to be, if the president does a good job, I did. Some people would say a great job. But if the president does a good job, a president should be free and clear and frankly celebrated for having done a good job. Not indicted 4 times and not gone after on a civil basis and not demanded to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in fines on something that was absolutely perfect, where there were no victims, where the financial statements were absolutely flawless, where you have disclaimer clauses. I mean, nobody's ever had a thing like this. I wasn't given a jury, and I had a clubhouse judge just come up with this number on a perfect loan and very conservative financial statements. But even at that, if you look, the disclaimer says don't rely on the financial statements in any way, shape, or form. Go out and do your own work. The bank in question had the most sophisticated lawyers in the world, frankly, one of the top law firms anywhere in the country, and they can defend themselves. What guys like Bragg and Letitia James and Fani and deranged Jack Smith, what they should be doing is fighting violent crime. And that would lead me to the end. I will say that President Biden, number one, stop weaponization. Fight your fight yourself. Don't use prosecutors and judges to go after your opponent, to try and damage your opponent so you can win an election. Our country is much bigger than that. The other thing I say to President Biden, close the borders now. This is not sustainable for our country. It's not sustainable for our cities. Our country is under siege. This is a violent thing that you've done. And many people are dying. Many, many people are dying. They die on the trip up. They die going through the border. And they die in our country. But many of the people coming up are from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums. Many are terrorists. You see it. Many, many are terrorists. And I believe the real number that we have right now is probably closer to 15 million people. And by the time the term ends, I believe the president's term ends, I believe you'll be at close to 20 million people. That's almost larger than any state in the union. Our country, it is not sustainable. Many of these people are tough. Many of these people are bad. They come from some of the roughest countries in the world and some of the roughest prisons. We have prisons in the Congo, in Africa, coming. We have people coming from all parts of the Middle East. They're coming from Yemen, and yet we're bombing Yemen. You have to stop. You have to close the border. You have absolute authorization. You don't need Congress. I had the safest border in the history of our country, and I didn't use Congress for it. And then I built hundreds of miles of wall, and the reason I built it and how I built it was I considered it an invasion of our country, and I took the money from the military, and the Army Corps of Engineers did it with me, and we did a great job. And we had the safest border we've ever had, and now we have the most unsafe border anywhere in the world at any time. There's never been a border like this at any country, anywhere in the world. They would have fought with sticks and stones to stop the horrible situation that's occurring. Our people can't stand it, and the people coming in really can't stand it because they're dying. Many are dying on the trip up, and they're dying in the country. And also, many of the people are criminals, and they're doing tremendous harm. I call it migrant crime. It's migrant crime. It's a new category of crime. They're hurting our country horribly, and we've become a laughing stock all over the world. So I say respectfully to President Biden, you have the authorization right now. I did it. I didn't go to Congress and say, do I have the right to close? I fought Congress on it. Close the borders. You can do it right now. You have everything. Use my policies. My policies were great. Everybody said it. Use my policies. So just to finish, I have great respect for the Supreme Court, and I want to just thank them for working so quickly and so diligently and so brilliantly. And again, this is a unifying factor. Everybody now is together, and they can go after me as a politician. They can go after me with votes, but they're not going to go after me with that kind of lawsuit that takes somebody out of a race who's leading in this case, but even if the person wasn't leading. And I want to thank you all for being here. Do we have any questions? Yes.
Mr. President, the poll numbers are massive for you going into Super Tuesday. We found that a lot of people that were agnostic to politics in general see these legal cases against you. They see how life was back under a Trump administration. Do you think that's the key to pull some of these independent voters into this next election, seeing that these legal cases are unfair, they have no merit, and also the poll numbers and their life before Trump?
It's such an interesting question because historically a thing like what I've been going through would have hurt a political party or a political candidate terrifically. You wouldn't even run. You wouldn't be able to run. You'd get out. This has happened over many years, many times. In this case, I mean, the polls show that I'm much more popular than I was before weaponization. It's been weaponized like it's never been. This is for third world countries. This isn't for us. Biden ought to drop all of these things. And frankly, he may do better if he does, because people would say, wow, that was very reasonable. Look, they're all, the state, the city, and the federal, they're all coordinated. Fannie Willis's lover spent hours and hours at the White House, I guess with White House counsel and with DOJ, plotting out this plan. Nobody talks about that. They're all coordinated with the White House. It's weaponization. Never been done in this country. It's been done in third world countries, banana republics, never in this country. So I really believe what they should do is really go all the way, go out and stop all of this nonsense. They're nonsense cases, and everybody sees it. You just look at Atlanta. It's such an embarrassment to Georgia, what's happening there. But Jack Smith, I don't think is any better. Letitia James is terrible. She campaigned on, I will get Trump, and then it goes before a Trump-hating judge. I mean, the whole thing is a rigged deal, and the public understands it. I'm lucky that I'm able to explain it to the public, because if you weren't able to explain it, the public wouldn't know. They'd believe what they see. So I don't want to win this way. Look, I want to win based on my policies are better. We're going to cut taxes. We're going to get interest rates down. You're going to be able to buy homes again. I mean, you can't buy a home today. The interest rates are so high. I want to win on safe borders. I want to stop wars. I want to stop the war in Ukraine with Russia. I want to stop what's happening in Israel. Israel would have never been attacked if I were president. Ukraine would have never, ever been attacked if I was president. You wouldn't have had inflation Inflation was caused by high energy prices. I had low energy prices. I would have kept them there very easily. And it probably maybe caused the war with Ukraine because Putin became rich all of a sudden. It went up so much, and I watched President Biden talking about Putin. Putin became very rich because at $100 a barrel, he's got so much money to fight a war. At $40 a barrel, he doesn't have the money to fight a war. But he wouldn't have done it anyway because I told him not to. So I just want to thank all of you for being here. I think it's a very big day for America. I think it's a very big day for liberty, and I think it's just a great day for this country. Again, I hope it's unifying like I think, but it is. It's a big step toward unification. I hope that the justices, because they'll be working on some other cases, but one in particular, presidents have to be given total immunity. They have to be allowed to do their job. If they're not allowed to do their job, it's not what the founders wanted, but perhaps even more importantly, it will be terrible for our country. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
What would you do to prevent states like Alabama responsible for Navalny's access to IVF? Are you going to support a 15-week federal abortion ban?
Full immunity. About 100 years from now and 200 years from now, extremely important. Essentially, you cannot take somebody out of a race because an opponent would like to have it that way. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it's the leading candidate.